Pretend there's only one S.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. My name is Sabrina. This is her talk show. Thank you so much for being here. We are with Alissa today, and we're going to be talking all about creating your plan for financial security. So excited for this subject. I know that pretty much every single person listening could use some of this information that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be exploring some triumphs, some challenges faced by women and men worldwide, offering insights and inspiration to fuel not only your personal growth, but also your professional growth. Let's dig right in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
Hello, if you're listening live, welcome. And if you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're at so we can send you some love in the comments. We're here every day delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We've interviewed over 600 women, and today we are adding another one to the list. We have Alissa. She works with clients on a personalized level, helping them identify their goals and work with them to implement strategies towards financial security and a work optional lifestyle. Oh, I love that. Her focus is on financial planning and investment management for female executives and business owners. As the first person in her family to attend a college in America and incur student loans, she realized the importance of financial planning and investing for the future to minimize the financial stress that comes from having a lack of options. This experience paved the way for Alissa to explore the financial services industry. Welcome, lady.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for our conversation today, Sabrina.
Yes, girl. I love this. So you have you always been kind of curious about this, or did this literally just happen because of the financial debt with student loans?
Yeah, so it was mostly from this experience because the really great thing that my parents did during that time is meet with a college planner. And that opened my eyes to, oh, there's someone that can help plan for your different goals and look at your different college options and the courses and the costs for each. And that was just really, really insightful. And it kind of stuck in my head. Really, that experience carried me through. And I was always interested in entrepreneurship and something to do with numbers and finance. And I think all of that combined with that experience really had me diving deep into financial services and exploring it more.
Yeah, I totally get that. I always appreciate people who love numbers.
Yeah, it's
Um,
something I've been good at, thankfully.
yeah, I don't think I ever would have necessarily gotten into anything with numbers, but I totally appreciate it. Like a lot of the work I do, a lot of the marketing stuff that I do is very much around numbers and
Mhm.
statistics and stuff like that. I think it's so important. And I think that people don't talk about numbers enough. We concentrate so much on like communication, and emotions and relationships. And so much of our life is revolved around numbers,
Yeah.
money, currency, statistics. So I love that. Well, when you think about individuals' finances and this work optional lifestyle that you're talking about, I'd love for you to explain kind of what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. So we learned over the years that a lot of our clients, they might have unique backgrounds and come from different walks of lives, but they had a few things in common. And instead of, calling it this retirement and having the same definition of retirement that you're working in a career for 40 years and then all of a sudden you're stopping, we realized that a lot of our clients had a different meaning to retirement. It was really having a goal of being for you to have your work be optional. And so we learned that some clients absolutely love what they do. They love their business or they love their career, but wanted to have that financial security and stability to step away if they wanted to and sell the business and walk away and spend their days, doing other things that they loved if they wanted to. Then we had other clients that they really just wanted to put in their time into their career and get out and just not work at all anymore. And so we realized, everyone has a different kind of definition of retirement. Some people, they are again going to stop working immediately, or I have a lot of clients that think they're going to actually go into part-time and more consulting basis. But what they all wanted to know is, hey, at what point in my life can I step away from work or from business if I want to? And then I can make the choice if I want to continue doing that in my life. So that's where we really started to, instead of saying, hey, let's have a plan for retirement, which still a big portion of what we do, but instead we really phrase it and get our clients in the mindset of, well, when do you want to have work be optional and have that work option lifestyle? And then you can make the decision if you actually will step away from your career or your business at that point.
That totally makes sense. I know that you work with a goal system called Form Goals. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, like I mentioned, clients come from different walks of life, but we, again, finding a lot of different commonalities on what's important to our clients. And so we have developed a process. And one of the benefits of our process is that we never lose sight of what matters to us. And what we've realized is that the things that matter to our clients are their form goals, which stand for family, occupation, recreation, and money. So for their family, it's the thing that you want to do for your family, with your family, maybe the legacy you want to leave behind. We often hear about, generational wealth. So really having a good understanding of that, what that means to our clients. The occupation, kind of what I mentioned before, whether you want to stay with your business or your career for a long time, where you're like, tell me exactly when I can get the heck out. So really keeping in mind our occupation, the occupational aspirations of our clients. So that's under occupation. Recreation is the fun part. It's how you want to spend your day. It's your hobbies, your passions, spending time with your kids or grandkids or your loved ones, how you want to actually fill your day outside of work. So that's really under the recreational bucket. And it's those, the family, occupation, recreation. Those are usually your clients' why. It's why financial independence matters. And the M, which stands for money, it's really the how. Money is just a tool to get you to achieve all of these family, occupation, and recreational goals that are usually really important to our clients.
I like that. Money's the tool.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our clients, kind of going back to that work optional lifestyle goal, it was a husband and wife couple. And one of the things that they've always wanted to know is if he could take a sabbatical in his career and actually take a step back. They can spend some time traveling as a family. And then when they come back from their, sabbatical, if he could go back and work at a reduced salary, maybe work part-time, and see how that would affect their financial plan. It's something that they always thought about. And when we put that on paper and we create the financial plan, we showed, hey, it is actually possible. And he's right now taking a bit of a sabbatical right now. So it's really diving into, not just your financial goals, but think about how you want to spend your time and who you want to spend your time with, and how can we use money to achieve all those things.
That's awesome. I'd like you to talk a little bit about blocking out the noise.
Mm.
What does that mean, and how does this affect individuals?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, especially right now, or it seems like the last several years, there's so much stuff going on in the world, right? No matter where, I think, no matter where you are in the world, especially, I'm based in the US, and there seems to be a lot of things happening. And so, going back to our process, the second benefit of our process is that we can really help tune out the noise for our clients. There's so many things that we can't control, but we really try to focus on the things that we can control. We can't control what the stock market does, what politicians do, what kind of legislation is passed. We can't control like a lot of these geopolitical events. So even though those are the things that really make up the headlines and that you're constantly bombarded with, it's at the end of the day, you as an individual investor or you as a client, you don't have much control over those things. So we really help our clients figure out, okay, what can you control? And that's really your own behavior. It's how you react and, be proactive about certain things when they happen to you in your life. And how can we be proactive in your life versus reacting to all of these external factors that might be overwhelming you, or that might be, swaying you to do one thing or another. But again, at the end of the day, we can't control what a lot of these stocks do, companies do, or politicians, or just geopolitical events. And it's really important to get down and focus on the things that matter to you and the goals and your personal values, and focusing on the steps that you can control.
How has your background as far as being an immigrant,
Mm-hmm.
How has that really helped or hurt your mindset
Oh,
around
wow.
financial services?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, in the beginning, a lot of the things I thought my weaknesses after years of kind of doing this work, I've realized are my strengths. At first, I felt like because I didn't know anything about the US like financial markets, I felt like it was a disadvantage because I didn't know how anything worked. But I really realized like from my experience and helping my parents and having this knowledge and being able to make a difference in my family's life, I realized actually I've gotten so many positive things about this. And the biggest thing is empathy, having empathy for people's financial situations, because I really know that, and I believe that people do the best they can given the information that they're given the education that on financial literacy that they have received, which for many people is very little. And so I think it definitely instilled this level of empathy and compassion and really trying to understand like why has someone behaved the way they have in their finances to get them into today's situation. And so I think that's been actually a strength. And I also see the immigrant work ethic has really been instilled with all of my siblings and myself, just seeing my parents work so hard and basically rebuild our lives multiple times every time we moved.
Wow. Ireland and Japan?
Oh, my mom is from Japan, but I lived in the Netherlands. But we go
Got
back
it.
to Japan, to see my mom's family.
Uh, who's in Ireland?
My dad. So my dad is born and raised from Ireland. My mom is born and raised from Japan. They moved to the Netherlands where me and my siblings all grew up. And then we moved to Ireland for a couple of years. And then we moved to California.
Wow. So
Yeah.
everyone moved to California?
Yeah. My immediate family. So yeah, the five of us.
That's great.
Hmm.
Very cool. What have you found as far as, I know that women in general are not as educated in the financial world as men. And on top of that, you're also in a male dominated arena.
Hmm.
What have you really noticed? What have you really seen? And what has been the feedback by other women coming to
Hmm.
you?
Yeah, I think that women maybe just haven't had the opportunity to participate in different financial or in different investing vehicles, because it wasn't until even a couple of generations ago that a woman couldn't have her own credit card or couldn't get her own business loan without a male cosigner. It's very recent if you think about a lot of the laws that have been passed for to help promote equality in finances. It's not been until recent that women have had the same kind of rights as men when it comes to having your own money, having your own credit card, having your own business loan. So we're starting out at different timelines, and I think maybe that's why there hasn't been as much education, because there hasn't been a need to educate women as much because they haven't been involved in these financial conversations and in households. But that's really shifted. I've noticed even from 8 years ago when I first started, so many more women are starting businesses. They are returning to the workforce. They are investing, and the biggest thing that I've like heard from my clients is that they want to get involved in their finances and learn. There's still a big discrepancy. The gender pay gap, is still relevant today. Women earn about 82 cents to a dollar. There's also the gender wealth gap, which is how much money women own, which is about 32 cents to the dollar. So there's a really big difference. But hopefully over time, like as women get more invested and get more involved in household conversations, I'm hoping that's going to eventually change.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel as if that is something that you're really concentrating on yourself?
Oh, yeah, 100%. Financial literacy is a really important pillar of my business. I love talking about this topic because I think it can really change someone's life. Like if you start investing, if you start taking control of your finances, having your own money means that you can leave toxic situations, whether that's a personal relationship or a work relationship. I had a client that, a few months ago told me that she just up and quit her job because it was such a toxic relationship. And that couldn't have happened if she didn't have her savings. Like, she couldn't have made that comfortable decision if she didn't have that savings to give her some time to search for a better job that had a better fit, a work culture as well. So it really is life changing when you have your own money. And that's definitely something that I'm passionate about, because women, a man's not a financial plan. You need to have your own money.
Yeah. Why do you think it is so imperative for women to really start honing in on this part of their life?
Yeah, great question. I think there's a few different key points. There have been a lot of studies that show what women on average enter retirement with about 2/3 of retirement assets than their male counterparts. And not only that, women are living longer. So you have someone that is entering retirement with less money, but they have to make that stretch longer because we're living longer. So there is a bigger population of women that are struggling in those golden years. So the sooner that you can get started and invest and be proactive about it, you can really set yourself up for financial success so that you can spend those years doing exactly what you want and what you've worked so hard for. Sorry, can you repeat the question again? I think I might have gone a little bit off tangent.
No, I thought that was good. I was saying, why is it so important for women to, why is it imperative
Oh, yeah.
for them to really hone in on this at this point in their life?
Yeah, absolutely. And, even if you're married, I've seen this quote and I've put this on my Instagram as well. All marriages end in death or divorce. And neither is a good time to be the first time to get involved with your finances. If you don't have control over your money, it controls you, and it's incredibly stressful if you also don't have enough money to live out exactly how you want it. And you might become dependent on someone. And it's all great if that person is kind and really takes care of you. But there are also many women that are in relationships that are not so great and that might need to, actually ideally get out of, but they can't because they, are worried that they are not going to be able to make it on their own.
Yeah. I did a TED Talk back in November of 2023, and one of the statistics that really rattled me was 43%. So like 50% of the population is getting divorced right now.
Wow.
Um, out of that, out of the individuals who want to be divorced, right? So it's like anonymous
Okay.
poll or something, who want to be divorced but are not divorced. 43% of them are in the relationship purely because they don't have the financial means to
Wow.
be able to get out. Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. That gave me chills. That's so sad,
Yeah,
It's scary and it's sad. And, financial security and financial independence, I think it can be really life-giving and life-changing.
yeah. Celeste has a question. She's asking, do you teach about stock investments?
Yes, absolutely. I'm like I mentioned, I'm very big on financial literacy. I have different master classes specifically on investing and planning for retirement, but it's a big portion of what my team does for our clients. So we do all different types of investments, whether it's retirement accounts or non-retirement investment accounts as well. Yeah.
Gorgeous. My follow-up question to the original question I asked, why is it so important, is what is going to happen if women don't start getting involved with their finances?
Nothing good. No, there was actually just yesterday, I read this just incredibly sad and horrible article. I forget which publication, but there is like an influencer couple, I think, living in the Hamptons. And the husband had racked up all of this debt, and the wife, is a very, in the article mentioned, it was very like traditionally separated, kind of roles, the husband and wife. She was really raising the kids, but part of their influencing is sharing their extravagant wealth, and there's lavish trips and all of these things. Well, unbeknownst to her, according to the article, he had racked up all of this debt. And, eventually he'd taken out a life insurance policy, I believe waited the 2 years, and then, took his life because the stress of all of the debt and thinking that that was the only way out to then provide something for the surviving wife and the young kids that were left behind. And that's obviously, like, I think a very extreme example, but that is an example that is a kind of a lot more common probably than we might think, that can really happen if if you don't know what's going on. Ignorance is not bliss when it comes to your finances. All of these things that are bubbling below the surface can eventually are going to come to light. And so it's really, really important. You're really harming yourself. And if you have kids, their financial future by not getting involved. I was just coming back from a conference and there was a whole section on helping women, and it was different segments of women. And one of them was, hey, what are the different concerns or challenges that women in relationships face? And they had all of these statistics, and a big majority of people don't talk to their partner about their financial situation. It said, I think it was something staggering, it's like 1 in 4 don't know, like they have a secret account that the other person doesn't know. And it's this, when you don't have that open line of communication, how can you truly work together as a team for your joint financial goals and your individual financial goals if there isn't that full disclosure between all of you? But whenever you are kept in the dark, you run the risk of something going awry in your finances and then finding out when it's way too late, and you're in a worse situation than you were before.
Yeah, I totally get that. Celeste says, Sabrina, if we don't, I guess, educate ourselves, then we have to work longer.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you,
Or
again, you go,
retire in poverty.
yeah, retire later, or basically have to, work for as long as your body will allow it and your mind will allow it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I think, if you've never been involved in the household conversation of finances and you don't know where to start, it's all about, again, having that open communication. Like, I'm a very big fan of promoting money dates. It's something that I use personally. Like, I do it by myself. We do have a free checklist. If anyone is interested, they can, if you find me on Instagram and just DM checklist, we can send that to you. But it's a resource that I've created just so that whether you're by yourself or in a partnership, you can really start getting into the habit of looking at your finances and thinking about your financial goals and setting your financial intentions.
I like that. So a money day done like once a week, once a
Yep.
month, just to kind of catch each other up?
Yeah, exactly. I personally do it once a week. It takes me about 15 minutes. I go into my, little portal to track my spending and income and classify those things. And I look at my overall goals. And that checklist really does have different prompts to walk you through it. I recommend it to all of my clients, whether it's you start off with once a month and then every 2 weeks, whatever cadence really works for you. And that, I think, most importantly, that you can keep up with. If once a week you're like, I can't do it, don't do it. Start off with something that is, manageable for you, but something that can be consistent into your routine.
I love that. Yeah, I have a money journal I've been keeping
I love that.
since 2017. I
Wow.
do it once a month. I got like one of those big fat 5-star, like expensive notebooks that's like has a freaking 500 pieces of paper in it. So not really, it's whatever that is, 160. But I've done every single month without ever missing since 2000.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, and I keep track of everything. I have everything written down, all my bank accounts, all my stocks, all my investments, even my credit cards and my credit score.
Wow.
Yeah. So when
amazing.
I actually first started it because my credit score had dropped. I had missed one. I was like perfect with my credit card. I missed one credit card payment. My credit card score was probably like 700. I missed one payment, Alissa. One. It dropped to 530.
Wow.
Because I had nothing else. My car was paid in full. I only had one credit card. Girl.
Oh my God.
I was so devastated. I did all this research and found out that if you don't have multiple, so I started realizing, oh my gosh, I don't know anything. So that's the day or the week or the month or whatever that I started keeping track of it. I'm like, I gotta freaking get my shit together. Like, I didn't even know this. Yeah. And it was over something silly. It wasn't like I didn't have the money. I just forgot. I was lackadaisical about it. Just wasn't thinking or whatever. So dumb. Yeah. And just screwed me really bad.
Yeah.
But I
Again,
love
one of
it
those
because
things
now
that
I can go back.
yeah, you can see
It's
your
so
growth.
cool. So I can literally go back to see like where I was exactly on that month, like 2 years, 3 years,
Mhm.
4 years, 6 years ago.
Yeah. I
And
love
just
that.
yeah, the increase is
Yeah.
just so cool.
Yeah, it goes back to the, like, you don't know what you don't know when it comes to finances, right?
Yeah.
Like, we're not taught this in most, education system or most families, but you're making financial decisions literally every single day that affect you today and in the future.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, speaking of couples, speaking of dates, money dates, I'd love to kind of hone in a little bit. I know just before we jumped on the call, you were talking about this, I guess, concept of the sandwich.
Mm.
Basically, couples who are in their 30s, 40s, somewhere around there, who have aging parents and who also have adult children, and how not necessarily they're just taking care of everybody financially, but that there's just a lot of conversation. There's a lot of things, there's a lot of money
Yeah.
stuff kind of just happening. It can be very overwhelming. I'd love for
Mhm.
you to talk a little bit, maybe give some tips
Yeah, of
to these
course.
individuals, because that is predominantly who listens to this channel is women between the ages of 35 and 55.
Mhm.
Maybe some tips that you can give those individuals who are maybe feeling the stress and the overwhelm of like
Mhm.
money.
Yeah, absolutely. I was reading this article. It was a pretty large part of the US population. About 23 of adults, according to this article, are part of what's called the sandwich generation. So, and about 60% of those who responded said they're stressed about how much it costs to take care of three generations. So that's their parents, their aging parents, their immediate family, so themselves and potentially a spouse, and then their adult kids. So think of, I have a lot of clients, I would say in my 40s and 50s, their parents are getting older. You have to think of healthcare costs and taking care of them, and their kids are about to go into college or going into college. And it can be really overwhelming because you're now all of a sudden, instead of planning just for yourself, you're planning for multiple family members, really, right? And so I think one of the first steps, really, and what I recommend with my clients is, okay, let's first figure out what's important to you. Because you kind of going back to, we always hear this analogy, you got to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you take care of other people. It's the same with your finances. A lot of times, the more you take care of yourself, and once you're financially stable, you can give more freely, you can help others out a lot better capacity. So, really understanding, like, okay, what are your goals? Where do you want to end up? And where are you currently? And can we kind of start seeing a plan for that? And then, having open and honest conversations, if possible. I know money can be a very tricky subject with your aging relatives or aging parents who you might be financially responsible for. And especially if you're not currently helping them out financially, having those conversations proactively. It's one of the questions that we always ask when we're going into our goals and values for clients. We ask them, hey, we need to spot any potential things that can derail your financial plan. That includes taking care of aging parents. So, do you actually know, if you're going to be responsible for financially for your aging parents, and do they have things in place to help themselves financially? Do they have long-term care policies? Do they have savings to help with those kind of needs? Because if not, then and if you have siblings, it might fall between all of you. But I would say the first thing is having that open dialogue with people that could affect your own financial plan, and see, maybe they have planned. I have some clients whose parents have planned for it. They have long-term care. They don't need to worry about it. And then other clients, they're going to be helping their parents in those later years. So I would say the first step is really having that open dialogue, have a better understanding of your parents' financial situation, if possible, and then start seeing, is it too late, or is it still possible to get long-term care insurance if you think that's going to be an issue for them down the line, and start, again, putting down all of those different responsibilities out on, I think, first on a piece of paper, or talk to someone and see if you can start saving for some of those items, or how it relates to your own personal financial plan.
Beautiful. Absolutely love all of that. Thank you so much for
Mhm.
sharing. And this is the sandwich generation. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a growing population.
Yeah, definitely. I can totally understand that. Well, this has been great. I took a ton of notes. I thank you so much for being here, for hanging out. We have a ton of people watching live. For those that are watching live or on the replay, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about exactly what you do and who should be reaching out to you. Who do you help?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm part of a wealth advisory team, and we primarily help a lot of our successful business owners and executives. I have a real strong focus on female founders and female executives and professionals. I work with a lot of families as well that, amongst other things, aspire to have a work optional lifestyle. They want financial security. So we've created a process that really puts all the pieces of your financial puzzle together. So yes, investment management is one of those pieces, but really looking at your complete financial picture of you and your family and your loved ones, and figuring out a plan for that and putting a roadmap into place.
Beautiful. And then where can people find more information? Is there any social media? Is
Yeah,
there a website?
absolutely. Yeah. So I am all over Instagram and LinkedIn. I'd say those are my top two places. I have different resources that you can download. We have a great monthly women owning wealth newsletter. We're having a book club on psychology of money, and I have different master classes throughout the year. So if you opt into my newsletter or follow me on social media, that's the best way to find out more about those things.
What's the information on the book club?
Yeah, so we're covering the psychology of money, which, oh my gosh, I think everyone should be reading that book. It's incredible. So we're doing that. It's via Zoom. So anyone, you don't have to be local to San Diego, can join. It's next week on Saturday. Again, if you go onto my Instagram, you can find the link to join. Even if you don't have time to read the full book, I highly recommend just getting on the Zoom and having a discussion. Is going to be really insightful.
How are you running it? Like you read a chapter and then reconvene, or how are you running?
No, because we're having one meeting, we're having just a general discussion of the overall book and talking about some of the principles and lessons of the book, and obviously opening it up for dialogue. And I'm hoping for a good discussion with people that have read it or are starting to read it, and see how we can apply some of those lessons and principles to our own lives and how we invest and how we view our relationship with money.
Very cool. I love that. All right. Well, for those of you listening live or on the replay, Alissa can be found predominantly on LinkedIn and Insta. Is that under your name, Alissa Todd?
Yes. Yep. Alissa Todd. Mhm.
And then her website, if you want to check out some more information about what the Wealth Consulting Group does, Alissa at wealthcg.com. It is in a clickable link in the description wherever you are watching us at. Alissa, any closing thoughts as we wrap up?
You know what? First, I want to thank you for having this conversation and actually having a safe space for people, and especially women, to have a conversation around money and ask questions. So if anyone, watching it live or replay has questions, I'm an open book. I'm all about, sharing everything that I do know out into the world. And no matter where you're at, I think you can, it doesn't matter what you've done in the past when it comes to your finance. What matters is where you're at today and how you're going to move forward.
Beautiful. That's great. Well, thank you so much for being here and for sharing so much awesomeness with us. We really appreciate that. That brings us to an end of yet another incredible episode of Her Talk Show. Thank you, Alissa. We appreciate you. To our dedicated listeners who made it all the way to the end, thank you for staying here. Remember to follow, like, and share. Once again, my name is Sabrina Victoria. I am the host here at Her Talk Show, and I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to have uplifting conversations just like this one, so we can help you every step of the way. It is in a clickable link also in the description below. We'd love to have you join us.